ball. There's the ospiciform bone. We're coming down, stretching that foreleg forward to the metacarpals, and then the digits, and they have two metacarpals that are bonded here like a single bone, and they split down here at the hoof. Okay, so there's the other hoof. Alright, I'm going to move that drawing over a little, and I'm going to come up and start laying in the hind end. So we've got the top line of the spine. We meet the pelvic bone. See that change? That's the caudal part of the pelvis, and it comes out towards us for the iliac crest of the pelvis. Okay? So these are landmark points, and the landmark points are important. They tell you different landmarks on the animal, and usually where there's a landmark point, like right here at the ischium bone of the butt, there's that pelvic bone coming through, we get a change of direction. So knowing your anatomy is very important. Now we have the pelvis, and the femur is coming here. This is your thigh bone. The thigh bone comes here, and it joins up with the patella bone. So you got the kneecap, which is actually a big piece of cartilage. It's the largest piece of cartilage in your body. And so now we've got this quadricep area and the whole upper leg, including the hamstrings back here, come down to the calf muscle, and we'll work that as a simple form before we start pulling anatomy out of it. So right now I see it like a cylinder that's joined in there, and it comes down to meet the calcaneus bone and the tarsus bones. So we'll just draw that as a shape, kind of a soft wedge shape, ball shape right here. And we go to metatarsus, okay, and then the phalanges, which is the toes, okay. Coming into the other leg, the supporting leg on the opposite side, there's the thigh on the other side, and then we have the patella, which is the kneecap. We also have the form of that tibia and fibula here of the leg meeting up with the ankle. These are true ankle bones here, not down here. This is actually the tarsus, which is like your ankle. The same medical bones you find that your ankle bones are, these are the tarsus. This is the tibia and fibula. Here's the tibia and fibula bone. That would be like your shin bones, okay? So I'm referring these to what you might find in some anatomy manuals, not common jargon, common language here. If you were in horses, they would call this a stifle. If you were just using local terms, they call that a stifle. Well, it really is a patella. It's the knee. So I'm using accurate terms here. Okay. All right. Medical terms. There we go. There's the other foot. Now, the tail is handled very lightly, and we'll finish that out later. And that's all for this phase. Okay, so we're going to continue moving on here. We're going to develop this animal a little bit more. We've got our forms in. We've got our basic shapes that we wanted developed out of this guy, and now we're going to go in more and pull out even more anatomy and a little bit more form with a little detail here. Now, if I took this camera and got it right up over the drawing, you could see everything is in proportion. But I've got to set it back here a little bit. It's going to make the legs look a little longer than they actually are in real life. So we'll have to deal with that because of the camera angle. So now I'm coming in, and I'm coming in under the atlas bone and the axis bone, first and second vertebrae of the neck. There's the windpipe, which is the sternomandibularis muscle. You have the SCM, the sternocleidomastoidus muscle, that comes down also. And then you've got these serratus muscles along here that help support the bones of the neck. But we're not going to worry too much on these short videos about every little nuance. We're just going to try to get through to finish out the gesture. Okay? And there's the beard. And a little tuft on the nose that they have. We're doing the black wildebeest. There's the first horn. Okay, the second horn is going to be slightly mirrored behind them because we're looking in profile. Alright. We've got that ear, opening up that ear. Okay. A little mane on top. I'm going to handle that very nicely, just a few strokes, suggesting the direction of that hair. Underneath the throat latch now, the little throat, we drop in a little shadow because it's moving away from our light source. You might see some folds in the neck. Coming under now at that scapula-humeral juncture, we see that plane change, that change of direction where the sun isn't shining, so we're going to drop that also underneath the animal here. And then in order to push that form out and away from us, since it's the opposite side of his body, we drop that in shadow. Okay? And let some of that shadow ride down the leg a little bit to help push the form. Shadow shouldn't really be about shadow, just throwing a shadow in there. It has to help push that form shape. Okay? And here's the underside of that tricep now as we're wrapping around. And my camera's in the way of my arm a little bit. Going to have to go this side, wrapping around, coming down, and underneath. See, underneath, and I sharpen that line a bit and drop the belly back. Now you're starting to see it come out a bit. Okay, so this is the tricep muscle, and the deltoid is up here too. Pectoralis is underneath, and you won't be able to see a whole lot of that. I'm coming through with the extensor muscles that help extend the leg, and flexors are on the medial side. They're on the interior part, right in here. Extensors are on the outside of the leg. Now we'll come down to the tendons of the lower leg. There's very little meat down here. It's all tendon. These extensor muscles will come down and turn through the wristband into tendons, similar to your radial and extensor muscles coming through the wristband and ending up as tendons to come down to the fingers. That's what this does. Okay, so now we're coming up to the underneath side. We're going to see that these animals do have some heavy mane, sometimes coming up here on the underside. It's kind of a nice thick mane of hair. That's why I love these guys. They're so different, these wildebeest. They have such kind of this wild magnetic quality to them.